From Cali to Tally, it's time to wake up. WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source, and this is Wake Up War Chant. Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hudjavandi and Corey Clark.
Wake up! You already heard the names. Let's get right to it. Hello, co-host.
What's up, man? How are you doing?
Good, bud. How are you?
Living the dream.
Indeed. At least you don't have a hurricane to contend with.
Yeah, that's kind of something, right?
Yeah. Stay safe, everybody.
Yeah, we have
Batten
people
the
that listen to us all over the eastern seaboard. Technically all over the world, people listen to this show. So I know we have listeners in North Carolina and Virginia and that area of the world. And stay safe, evacuate if it's mandatory. Because, you don't want to put our emergency personnel in a bind to try to come save you when you should have left 2 days before. But more importantly, we're thinking of you. Be safe. Get out of harm's way, please. Yeah.
Speaking of worldwide, I trotted into the YouTube comments, which is always a dangerous thing. But, I don't even know. I can't even say the guy's name because of the way he typed it up. But he posted, "Wake up." All the way from Iraq. I'm like, get out of here. No way, prove it. He's like, just tell me how. I've been deployed and listening since I got here in May. We can all hear that, Corey.
Sorry.
I'm in the Air Force, originally stationed in New Mexico. So he's out there, man. Super cool. And then Carlos.
He's in Iraq right now in the Air Force?
Yeah.
All right, man.
And then Carlos, the guy that's always one of the first guys to reply whenever we post the show to YouTube, is always doing, "Wake up," is asking, "Where you at, man?" Al-Assad, I've been all over that blank country. Be safe, brother. He's like, "Yes, sir." Yeah. So, yeah, they look at that, man. Bringing people together. Yeah, all over the place, all over the world. It's what we do. It's Wake Up War Chant, man.
That is what we do. What a time to be alive.
It is
where
great.
People can listen to a show based out of Tallahassee in Iraq.
Right?
Like instantaneously, as soon as you upload it, it's there for anyone in the world to listen to.
Yeah, man. The internet, man. It's fantastic. Also, let's get to some of this stuff. Shout out to the folks on the social media listening to the program and getting to us. I actually need to go back and look at the this because the first time I saw it was actually on YouTube as well. But basically, I've been asking this whole, what's up with the bag? Like, at least tell me the turnover bag. Tell me at least it's something cool. Like, is it some fancy brand name that I've never heard of that's super cool? And a guy on YouTube actually pointed out that it was. I'm trying to get his name. I want to give him a shout out because he was the first one to bring it to my attention. But two other people tweeted at us. I want to say his name was Zach. I'm just going to go ahead and say Zach.
Just say
if
Zach.
it's not Zach,
we'll
Zach, I apologize for you. But then also Holly and then BJ on Twitter told us that the backpack is big in hip-hop culture. It's an MCM bag. Apparently, I think Klay Thompson might be a spokesman or a brand ambassador for them. Supposedly retails for about $500.
Oh, all right.
So there's that. And then also we were talking about,
Will he buy it for him?
Maybe Harlan?
Is that an improper benefit to give the? Or they're just borrowing, I guess, for the night, and then they give it back to Harlan at the end.
Well, I mean,
not that I would care or would ever write anything that stupid about whether it's an improper, but you just never know with the NCAA.
If Miami can wear that chain, I think the backpack.
By the way,
is
isn't that chain like $90,000?
It's absurdly
What
expensive.
in the world?
Yeah, it's real jewels, brother. 305.
Do you really need real jewels for that thing?
Yeah.
But it's heavy.
Also, in Corey Durden, or maybe it was Nasir Upsher's tweet, they had the whole circle through the slash through the circle, like no smoking without the cigarette in there. And then the cap, Holly tells me that means no cap, which means no lie or for real, some variants of that.
Okay, all right.
So appreciate everybody keeping the
no
two
cap, huh?
on hip guys here in line. Appreciate it.
Well, it's changing every 6 months. I feel like right when I'm hip and up to date with the modern culture, it switches to something else again.
Moving the field goal posts on us. That ain't cool. All right, Corey, what do you want to talk about today? How was practice on Tuesday? You're banging out some stuff. Were you able to watch anything?
What I did watch is, so they did the Oklahoma drills, right?
The Knoll drill.
The Knoll drill, sorry, the first period that we watched it.
Right.
And I did notice, and again, I also understand the context that we're out there, the media's out there for that period. But after about 2 minutes, Willie Taggart stopped it, called the whole team together. Don't know what he said because we weren't in the huddle, but then they went back and started doing it again. And my sense is that maybe he wasn't real happy with how physical they were being when they were doing that drill.
Safe assumption.
And he was tired of it. And again, he understands. That's the thing about this offense with Willie, man, is that he does want a physical offense. He does. This isn't This isn't a fatigue. We want to fatigue you, and we're going to be running back and forth from side to side, and we want to just wear you down,
make you dizzy.
They want to be physical. It's not a finesse offense. He wants a physical offense, and quite obviously, the first 2 weeks it has been anything but. So he's he's trying to change that mindset, one practice at a time.
Anything that was said that was of interest to you?
No, I couldn't hear.
I gotcha. Fair enough.
What about you?
No. I was talking about the players and the and Walt beforehand.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think Walt Bell talked. They all talked about it, and I do believe Walt Bell. I think.
Oh, you don't believe Willie? Why is that?
No. I'm saying with the
Racist.
players, it's hard. It's always hard with the players to know what they're saying, if it's just player speak or if they believe it. But I do believe that Walt Bell, when he said that he thinks they're close, that they're gonna be, they have a chance to be good this year on offense. They're just missing some things, and I do think that he believes that. I don't think he's just saying that to hey, everybody, nothing to see here, calm down, we're going to be good. When you watch some of the plays that aren't made, they're really close to being made. They're there to be made, and you've got a quarterback that's still learning it. And a lot of this offense, more than I probably understood, is read based. Whether it's an RPO, whether it's handing off or keeping it. And DeAndre's getting better, apparently. He was a joy to talk to on Tuesday, by the way. DeAndre's getting better at it, but he's still not anywhere close to running that thing at peak efficiency. But maybe by the middle of the season, as he's getting all these reps in practice and getting the 80 plays each game, by the middle of the season, you're going to see something that looks completely different, and he's going to have it humming. Because theoretically, if you make the right read every time, there should be something open on every play. That's part of the offense. Obviously, not having a line that can block real well kind of throws a wrench into that. But against a team like Samford or a team like Syracuse, if you make the right read, you should get positive yards on every play.
Are you feeling any more optimistic than you were 24 hours ago?
No.
Fair enough. Next question I had for you was, have you had to retrain your ear at all when talking? I mean, you haven't really been able to talk to assistants or coaches before Willie got to town. It was only, media day and then the bowl game when you'd be able to talk to Randy Sanders or Jeremy Pruitt.
Maybe an assistant or two. So
it's kind of, I don't want to say catching me off guard, but I don't know. Like, I was listening to Gus Malzahn and Nick Saban last year, and they're also very, we got to do better at coaching. We got to teach it better. We got to block it up better, scheme it better, what have you. It's kind of weird to hear coaches actually point out flaws and put players' names attached to it. It's kind of different. I don't know if that's refreshing for people. I mean, Willie, I think he pointed out that George Campbell dropped the ball. I mean, literally said George Campbell's name. Like, we all knew he dropped the ball. He even made some comments about, DeAndre making a wrong read here or there. And then Walt Bell said the same thing. Walt Bell said there was a play in the game on a 3rd and 1 where they swung it out wide. I don't know if he said it was the DJ or not, but he's like, if we don't.
It was that 3rd and 1 where they threw it to a DJ and then lost a yard, right?
Yeah. He's like, if we don't throw it out there and we actually make the handoff instead, he's like, that's probably off for an 80-yard touchdown. We're sitting here bragging about the run game. I'm like, dang. I don't feel like they're tossing people under the bus, but I don't know. Maybe I was just so, conditioned to what Jimbo said. Because I feel like Jimbo never really pointed out players specifically doing something bad.
No, he would go out of his way not to typically on camera. Off camera, fine, he'd say. And that's how all coaches are, and that's how they should be. But he would never publicly say something like that. I think in this instance, and I'm certainly not defending it, I mean, here's the thing. So DeAndre made the wrong read there, obviously. He should have handed it off. Well, coach him better. Why did he hand it off? Yeah. Coach him better. That's your fault. And I don't think Walt Bell is saying it's not their fault.
Yeah.
They do have to coach better. But I guess he's just pointing out to people that are panicking, like, oh, why would you throw it out wide? What is going on with this offense? He's kind of pointing out all the missed opportunities. In that play in particular, he thinks that if he hands it off there, the way the defense is set up and rotating over to those 4 wide receivers, it's going to be a touchdown for Cam Akers. Maybe, but, it's also, I like that they're, maybe part of it too is like accountability. Like maybe it has been that way for so long where it's like, hey, I just got to coach better. We just got to coach better. Well, sometimes maybe players need to. And George Campbell, we all saw it. There's no. I mean, I don't think he's throwing George Campbell under the bus. Like, we all know who dropped it. So he could say we had a player drop a pass that would have been a touchdown down the sideline. Well, all right. Well, we know what you're talking about. George Campbell. So he's a big boy. He dropped a pass. But those kind of things are the interesting things to me. The ones where it is the read, and why was the read incorrect, or who missed the block? What was the running back supposed to do there? What was the wide receiver? Which wide receiver ran the wrong route? I'll be interested to see moving forward if they're like that. If these coaches continue to do that, and they're not calling out. Calling out is such a negative connotation.
Right.
And throwing under a bus. It's more like just commenting on what we saw, telling us what happened.
I get that's the whole double-edged sword, right? If they don't, then it's coach speak. And if they do, we sit here. And I'm not trying to say that it's a necessarily bad thing. Just to me, it's like almost jarring. Because I'm like, oh wow, like I haven't heard that around here in a while. I haven't heard like a player specifically be associated with a bad play, his name be tethered to a bad play. But we know guys make bad plays. I mean, guys drop passes. Guys did crucial penalties. Like we know who does it.
Yeah, and Jimbo, if you asked him about something, he would answer it. You know, if and I don't know why this came into my head, but like Rashad Green dropping a punt, you know, he would say, yeah, he can't do that. Rashad's got to be better than that. That's not calling a kid out. It's answering a question and saying something that's truthful that we all know. And there, you know, I guess the thought with Walt Bell on that particular play, well, all the offense is like, I think it's trying to maybe calm Florida State fans down and make them realize, wait till this quarterback gets it all. It's not DeAndre's fault. He only knows he's only getting the read right, whatever, 50-60% of the time. You know, he had to split snaps all of August. He's played 2 games in this thing. I think his thought is wait till you see what this offense does when we have the quarterback that's making the correct read most of the time. And it's coming. We're getting better each week. Wait till you see what that looks like.
No, we don't want to wait much longer, though.
Well, this week would be a good opportunity to maybe let's see what this thing looks like at peak efficiency.
What do you think is a bigger regret? Them giving Josh Ball all those reps at with the ones in spring, or making the quarterback battle so protracted? Because ultimately, again, listen, if Francois is the guy which he is, you saw enough, I don't know, in the spring from James Blackman and Bailey Hockman to be like, guys, it's probably not going to – I mean, I know you have to make him earn it. I just wonder – that's tough. It's a tough thing.
You're running a program. It's not just what's best for the 2018 offense.
True.
It's what's best for your program. And I don't know with what DeAndre's offseason was like, the fact that he did not practice in the spring, that James Blackman is considered a leader on that team.
He practiced. He didn't do a lot.
Yeah, he didn't play in the game, and I don't think he scrimmaged. He never got hit. But he was slow.
A lot of mental reps, individual work.
So I don't know what that would do to your football program if all the stuff that James Blackman gives you off the field, all the stuff that you have maybe had issues with DeAndre about being a leader on the field, that as soon as camp opens up, you're like, yep, 12's our guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have to make him go earn it. You have to. Just for the sake of the team. You can't just say, sorry, James, I know they love you. I know this probably isn't fair. You didn't get a chance to win the job, but we're giving it to the guy that hasn't played in 2 years.
Right.
So, I understand. But hindsight being 2020, it just would have really helped them if DeAndre had been around for the spring. Right. And then he could have come into August as the bona fide, surefire #1 starter.
Hey, let's talk more football. We'll be right back after this. It's Wake Up War Chant.
You're listening to Wake Up War Chant, all Noles, every day. Now back to Corey in Aslan.
All right, Corey, I don't know what your sort of talking point is going to be throughout the year. My whole talking point continues to be, and people are probably getting a little bit tired of it, just the fact that I don't understand the amount of guys that kept rolling out there in the last 2 games in terms of receivers, bringing in freshmen that weren't even getting targeted. Can we just pick 3 guys and let's just go with these 3 guys? So I kind of asked Walt Bell that question that, will he point out the fact that things were rolling in the second half because there was better synergy with the team, and maybe part of it was the fact that they were, it was the same 3 guys out there pretty much. You're not getting procedure calls because you're not coming in and out and lining up in different formations. It was the same guy staying out there. And then Walt Bell was like, we've played a bunch of guys. He pointed, we played a bunch or ton of guys in the first 2 games. I wonder if that's something Walt Bell was on page with as well, or if maybe that's something he thinks was potentially a problem.
Yeah, it just makes sense. Man, my voice really went high there. I think, obviously they want to know who their top 4 guys are and go with them. I don't think it's as crystal clear as these are our 4 guys, though. I think they really like those freshmen. I think they really have concerns about some of the older guys for a variety of reasons. So you tell me, as a guy, Keith Gavin probably gives you a better chance to win, maybe overall, than like a Warren Thompson or one of these guys, even a Keyshawn Helton.
Yeah. But
is Keith Gavin a guy you can depend on? Is he a guy that's going to help turn this program around?
Yeah,
there's that line, as again, it's not just about what's best for the 2018 season. It's about what's best for this program moving forward, what's best for the 2019 team. And maybe you have to get these guys some experience. Otherwise, you go through the same problems you're going with now with all these inexperienced. Like, none of these guys have done squat. None of them, except Nooney. Keith Gavin still doesn't have a touchdown catch in his career. He's a junior. And Nooney hasn't really been great since the Michigan game. But, at least he's made some plays. So you don't want to get in a position in 19 or 20 when you're always having to bring out new, inexperienced guys and go through the learning curve. I agree with you. They probably rotated too much in the Virginia Tech game. They've got to get some. I really don't like this word, and it's being used a lot around this program.
Synergy?
Yes. I'm not a huge synergy fan.
Connectivity. We got to connect better. It's like Leonard and connect.
But there's validity to that, man. In offense, when you have the same 10 or 11 guys out there, or even the same 5 guys when it comes to skill guys, the quarterback gains comfort with them. He knows the route, the way they run their routes. He can depend on them to be where they're supposed to be. He can let it go without thinking too much. They can block better. Whatever they do. And that is hard to get into a rhythm when it's being rotated in. I do think in the second half, certainly on that final drive, you saw the guys that I think they want to ride with for the most part. 15, obviously.
Come on, just give them this
Nooney,
ball, man.
McKitty. These are guys they're going to be counting on for the rest of the season. For the rest of Nooney just for this season, but then for the next couple of years too. And DJ Matthews was out there when it mattered. So, I don't know if they have a top 3 or 4. I think 15 for sure, and I think Nooney for sure. All the other guys, I feel like even now they still seem to be interchangeable with them. And until they get that figured out, there might be some lumps because there's going to be a hard time getting a rhythm there.
That's fair. I think in a roundabout way, I'm just trying to say never take 15 off the field.
Well, and he played like 70 snaps. Okay. He was on the field a ton. He played the most snaps out of any wide receiver.
Okay.
And he's also a guy they feel can block, which is a big deal, man, because Lord knows the other guys don't seem to like to do it or want to do it. But there was a play on that last drive where they scored, and he didn't get the ball thrown to him. But it was one of the runs, I think it was a running play, where Terry pushed his guy out of bounds and slammed him on the ground on a block.
Yeah.
That's a big deal, man. You want a guy, Kelvin Benjamin did that. It's not making the catches is the most important thing. And as I look at you right now, over your shoulder is a picture of Benjamin making that catch in the end zone against Auburn. Those are the money plays for wide receivers. But man, if you can show your coaches that you can be counted on to block, be physical. Just be physical. And that's the one thing Nooney obviously isn't. He's not a good blocker. He's never been a good blocker. But can Gavin be? If he's going to be dropping passes in the middle of the field, which happens, sure, you might want to start coming down with those, my man. At least prove your worth by being a physical blocker. Same with George Campbell. You guys are big. Go use your size.
I'm not too down on George. I know he dropped a very important pass, but he also made 2 really good catches that set up Tamorrion Terry's first touchdown. So I won't be too hard on. Plus, he went to the same high school I did, so I got to defend my guy. Yeah, I mean, that was something Walt Bell pointed out, was the fact that, I tried to ask Willie about it, but Willie didn't really want to go down that path or whatever. Just about the fact that there were so many times when I did see Tamorrion Terry out there that pre-snap, they were rolling. I mean, they weren't even looking at anything else. They just saw Terry, 50, like, all right, safety, roll over, help out the cornerback on there. And I'm like,
that's why you got it. Those other receivers got to go make plays, man. Lots of plays.
But Walt Bell said that, listen, he's like, as excited as you guys are, the fans are about the 2 touchdown catches Tamorrion Terry made. He's like, I'm most excited about everything he did when he didn't have the ball his way. He's like, he was blocking his rear end off, and he's a tough kid. And then I asked him about Willie pointing out the fact that Tamorrion Terry had a really good practice last week and how much of that is – he's like, listen, when you practice tough, he's like, you're going to play tough. And the funny thing, too, is when you actually block tough and you play tough, you make tough catches. It's funny how that works out, but it just for some reason it does. But they seem to be very high on him. And that's the thing. I feel like, golly, just he's either going to be taking so much attention of the defense that he's going to open things up, or if they're going to like go one-on-one with him. He's a guy too. I almost feel like I don't want to give him too much. I don't want to hype it up too much, but he's probably still open. Even if he's double covered, he's probably still open. I mean, it's either going to go incomplete, pass interference, or he's going to catch the ball. I feel like, you know,
right.
I think it's going to be
really
hard.
Unless it's a woeful overthrow or underthrow or something.
I mean, if you put around him where he can go up and battle for it, I find it hard to believe that's going to get intercepted. I mean, just a lot of good things can happen when he's out there.
Yeah, and you hope they find that part of their offense is just sometimes just give him a shot. Yeah. Just go give him a shot. I think he could be that kind of freaky a player.
Yeah. And then if he needs to blow, I think George Campbell's like the good doppelganger for him. It's like, you know, if Terry runs a couple vertical routes on their own, he's tired, then bring in George Campbell and keep it going. And I think it'll come around George Campbell. And I'm not going to throw him into the sin bin or whatever because of a drop. Although it was a bad drop. It was a bad drop.
It was a tough one.
It would help the game out.
It was a tough one, George.
All right, let's step aside. We'll reset. We'll come back, talk more about the Noles. It's Wake Up War Chant.
WarChant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. WarChant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WarChant30. That's WarChant30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WarChant30. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.
Welcome back. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. It's Wake Up War Chant, part of the WarChant.com family. Don't forget, folks, go to the away games. They're fun, too. The best one's probably going to be the Notre Dame game. Check out GameDayExcursions.com. Use the promo code WarChant for a $10 discount for the upcoming trip to Notre Dame. It's going to be a daytime yacht party cruising through Lake Michigan and downtown Chicago. It's going to be good time. It's going to be good time.
It does sound like a good time.
Yeah, come up, man. Bring everybody.
Well, I'm not going to do that, but it does sound like a good time.
Whatever. Look at that. Corey, is Florida State right now better than they were the last 3 games of 2017?
No.
Okay.
I mean, but remember, those were guys that were in both of those systems for years and years and years. So I was thinking about that. So, like, you know, and I've talked a lot about how not all FCS teams are created equal, and you can't judge Texas A&M's win the same as Florida State's win over their FCS team because Florida State played a good FCS team. So I was like, man, what would this team have done last year with Louisiana Monroe? Would it have boat raced it like that team did? I don't think so.
Yeah. Or Southern Miss?
Yeah. I don't know. I nothing we've seen so far lets us believe that would happen. But again, you had a guy, James Blackman, that was his 10th game in that offense, 10th or 11th game in that offense. You had all those. The defense had a ton of experience, although half of them sat out that game. But they had a ton of experience down the stretch. And I just think installing systems, installing a new coaching staff, you're just more unsure.
Well, how can we have it both ways, though? How can we say that we're going to make this thing easy, everything's going to be simple, but then I know it's only 2 games of quote, struggling. We'll see how things work out in Syracuse. But, like, why, without being, like, too being too overly optimistic, like how can we explain that away? That's my thing, because there was a lot of times during the off season, whether it was the kickoff luncheon when Willie pointed out, listen, when I came here, I heard so many things about these players, this, that, and the other, and they were all wrong. So these are a bunch of good, hardworking kids. I don't know how much that's personality and not so much their physical prowess, but I still think there's a little bit of overlap there. Because I'm sure when he came here, he probably heard that this guy wasn't any good, this guy wasn't any good, this guy you can't count on. And he's like, I love all these guys. Points out, I don't know how much it was the fact that maybe, because I felt like the way he talked to us, I felt like he made it seem like he thought this was going to be pretty easy to get this thing rolling. And it just hasn't been so far. It can all change on Saturday, but just, how do we explain that away without talking about both?
Well, it's supposed to be simple, but it's not right now. I think when it's running well, it's pretty simple offense. I'll keep going back to the Mariota, Oregon offense. It was a simple offense. It was just run really well and really fast. Yeah. So maybe that's how you – not simple as in simple to install, simple to start winning right away again. It's just a simple offense with some base plays. It goes fast, and you just let your athletes go make plays. Right now, especially in the backfield, those athletes don't have much of a chance to go make plays. And, I'll be honest, the receivers have had chances to make dazzling plays. Make some people miss, man. Just make some people miss. You have to break tackles sometimes. You're at Florida State. The first guy shouldn't bring you down if you're a skill player at Florida State, and it happens a lot. As we get old, as we go through this thing, I think a lot of this is, say you throw a hitch out to number 8, not a hitch, just a screen pass, like you saw at Virginia Tech. That was a simple play. Should have been a touchdown. They didn't review it. Should have been a touchdown. That's simple. Get the philosophy is simple. Get your best players. Get your good players the ball with space and let them go make plays.
Are we hoping that through 2 games, like they've identified what the problems have been, and that's why they are upbeat, or at least are acting
I think legitimately they might be upbeat when they watch the film and see, okay, it was there. We're not completely overwhelmed. We do know what we're doing. This scheme can work. That play was to be made. The guy that's only run it for 2 games has to be able to, 1 week, really, essentially, has to make that read better. And Francois played well. I think I want to go back and look at all the throws behind the line of scrimmage, and I want to know as we move on with this season what's supposed to be going on there, because those have been awful. They just haven't worked at all, really. But his throws downfield have been pretty darn good, and I wonder if they go. And I was thinking about this today yesterday when we did headlines. We did not see the Patrick swing pass out wide or the McKitty going horizontal. We didn't see that. They got rid of that from the playbook. Maybe not rid of it, but they stopped with it, stopped calling it as much. So they're learning. And that's, Walt Bell and Willie Taggart have only been doing this together for 2 games too. And in fact, as I've mentioned, this is only the 4th year Taggart's been running this offense. Jimbo had been running that thing for decades, legitimately.
Yeah.
20 years. Well, not 20, 15 years by the time they got great at it at Florida State. Taggart's been running this thing for 4. So there's a learning curve with him too. So it's not like this is his baby, that this was his concept that he developed over the last 15 years. He's a Harbaugh guy. So he's learning it too. Right? Don't you think?
Yeah. I mean,
there's learning curves, there's growing pains. And we certainly the first 2 games there were plenty of painful stuff to watch.
It still goes back to, again, going to the season, the belief, at least on this show, at least from this guy on this show, was that, okay, this team in 17, for who they were, won 7 games. They're bringing back a lot of the key pieces to a certain degree. I mean, just like offensive line has always been a bugaboo. Like, why is it now so much more haphazard looking?
But their 2 best guys are hurt. Minshew is missed the first game and didn't look all that healthy in the second game, and then Dickerson's out. So the line that you thought you had has already imploded. You might have to start Arthur Williams on your offensive
line.
They're
going to start Arthur Williams.
Guy's been doing this for 5 weeks, right? Was he an offensive lineman in the spring? I don't even remember.
No.
I mean,
still playing D-line.
That's where you are with the offensive line. It's a train wreck. It's a train wreck. And so I also think that part of that is when they view their offense, they view it through the prism of, man, just wait till we get guys in here that can block. Wait until we have a good situation up front, because obviously that's the key to everything. Get guys up front that can block, and then then this thing can really, really get rolling. But I also want to say, the way I sound now, Mr. Pragmatic, Mr. Hey guys, you got to have patience. Obviously, this wasn't going to be a quick fix. That's not the guy I was 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago. I was with you. I'm just speaking now, so I don't want people to say, man, you kind of changed with the wind. Admittedly, I thought they were going to be better than this. I thought they were going to score a lot more than this. I thought they were going to look better than this. As we've seen through the first 2 weeks, though, with that context and with that hindsight, I just want to go slap myself in the face and go like, why did you think that? Why did you think that? It's still the same players. Again, Mark Stoops didn't turn that 2010 defense into a juggernaut overnight. There was still all the stench from 2009. Completely different system. By the end of the year, they were decent. But they were never great in 2010, ever. So there's this offense. It's the player. It's the same players. They're learning a new system. There's no way to expect that they're going to be awesome. And that was dumb for me to think that they might average 40 points a game this season.
But, I mean, look, we'll see. I want to see how good – I still want to see how good Virginia Tech is. I think that's going to be something. Because I thought when
Ask William and Mary, buddy.
Right.
Ask William and
Mary.
Mary.
Ask that tribe. Yeah, I mean, somebody made some sort of comment. You guys, why did you expect 10 wins? I mean, again, I pointed out the fact that I just thought there was enough talent here. And then you figure with everything he's talking about, all the, we're going to play for each other, the camaraderie. These guys didn't play; they didn't have any fun. I remember he talked about when he got here, the first thing he noticed was that they didn't have any fun. Yeah. No one congratulated anybody on any sort of plays. They weren't playing for one another. Well, then, I mean, if those are big hallmark things for you, if those are bedrock parts of your foundation, guys need to play for each other, guys need to love each other, guys need to learn how to have fun, and you've had 8 months to create and foster that environment. I'm not saying compete for the national championship. I was joking about, I'm like, just be there in November. Be there in November where there's a couple games that, there's a bunch of games that are going on. Like, if this team loses and that team loses, then we can maybe backdoor into something. And I don't think that was that crazy of a hope or a wish.
Yeah, no, I mean, in hindsight, yeah, it was. But I was there with you. I mean, I was there with you. And let's be honest, they weren't blown off the field by Virginia Tech. It wasn't like they were embarrassed they were embarrassed in the sense that they didn't belong on the field with them. They were humiliated. They were so much worse than the team they were playing. They had some bad breaks. They turned it over 5 times. And they still were in the game late, midway through the fourth quarter, down at their 7-yard line. Scoring 3 points isn't great, but they were there. So they're not that far away from being a pretty good team. But, again, they have to learn how to win. And you're talking about a team – I think, and we've talked about it before, and we won't stay on it long. I just think we all look at 2017 as like an anomaly, like it was an aberration. When in reality, the 15 and 16 teams weren't that far away from it. Yeah. They really weren't. They had an electrifying running back that probably won them a couple of games that they had no business winning. Certainly kept them in a couple of games against Clemson that they had no really business being in.
But to the degree, but 16, you're a 52-yard field goal and a phantom block in the back from being in the playoff, too. So
yeah, perhaps, yeah. But then also, weren't there games that year that they barely won?
Pulled out the hat.
So including the Ole Miss game where they got down 21-3, and that wasn't a good Ole Miss team. And then certainly 15, every game was close. It seemed like. So I think it was more. So even still, well, your record's your record. So they didn't beat anybody in 2015, but it's fine. They were a 10-3 team. 2016, they were a 10-3 team, although they had an embarrassing loss to Louisville that probably should have counted as 2 losses. But you're talking about a team that's used to losing that had lost 12 games over 3 years. It's a 4-loss program. Yeah. And there's nothing fluky about that because they won some games late. They also lost some close games. So all in all, they averaged out to be a 4-loss team. But we presented 2017 as just this anomaly that, if Francois had been healthy, or you got all these guys back from the number 3 team in the country, when in reality they were just way, way, way overranked. The program was in a decline. It had averaged 4 losses over the last 3 seasons. Now you got a new coach coming in here with a whole new system on each side of the ball with players that aren't used to winning anything. And we were thinking, okay, they got a chance to compete for championships. And it's just something you got to build up. You got to build on. Again, there's just very, very few examples where something like that gets turned around immediately by a first-year coach. And even the Malzahn one that somebody pointed out, which was a good example on your part, he had the working knowledge of Auburn because he had just been there 3 of the 4 years prior to that. Those were his recruits.
What about Urban Meyer, though, when he went to Ohio State? He was undefeated year 1 and then, 2 years later won the national championship?
Yeah, I mean,
he's Urban Meyer, though. That's Urban Meyer.
Yeah, I don't know what they were, and weren't they good before he got there? Didn't they have to?
No, they had Luke Fickell. They had the interim coach. Luke Fickell was there for the 1 year between because they got rid of Tressel, late in the process.
But Tressel had that thing rolling pretty good, right?
Yeah, but come on, Luke Fickell comes in there and
And
Urban Meyer Urban Meyer went undefeated. I think did he not? That was 2013. They went undefeated when Florida State won the national championship. They couldn't. They were like bowl ineligible. I think.
Is that right?
Yeah, because they won it all in 14.
Yeah. Well, look, man, Urban Meyer is one of the best coaches in college football history. He can do that.
Right.
Go pay somebody $9 million a year, and you could bring in Urban Meyer or Nick Saban. There aren't a lot of Urban Meyers to go around. But I'm saying just because it can be done, but it's very rare, and it was done by a great, great coach. This is a different situation. That Ohio State team did have really, really good players up front.
They lost their quarterback.
They had
they're on the third string quarterback.
Really good players up front. That makes a
fair.
lot of difference.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. So it's not apples to apples, but again, I'm certainly not saying that Willie's done a great job so far because that would be asinine. But I am saying that we don't know what this thing's going to look like.
I know, I'm so anxious. I almost want to just go to sleep and wake up and be November and just watch 8 games worth of
See what they're like if they're like 5-5.
Yeah.
But I think right now, and everything kind of...
Is this going to be a week-to-week thing? Are
No.
we going to reassess the team every week and be like, oh, wow, maybe they can sneak to 10 wins. Oh, my God, we're not even getting into a bowl game.
I think this is the game where everything hinges on, or pivots on. I really do. They have a full week
a noon
to prepare.
game in Syracuse, New York.
I do. If they go out there, again, with the caveat that they barely beat the same team last year at home, but if they go up there and play well and win comfortably and put up 40 or 50 points.
Everything's back on the table.
Everything.
Like
Not
the 10
back,
win, the
no,
10
no,
win stuff.
I don't know about that, but I don't think you start wondering about a bowl.
Okay.
Because, again, it's so hard to judge them from the first 2 games. In the whole again, you make your biggest improvement from week 1 to week 2. Well, this is what they're doing now.
And Walt Bell was on board with that because I was telling Corey keeps talking about the week 1 to week 2 thing, but you didn't have a full week. He's like, this is the first time we've had a full week of game prep. He said, I don't know if he meant Virginia Tech as well because of the way the timing works out with it's on a Labor Day and you're taking.
Well, and also it's the first game.
Yeah.
So this is what we'll see what this coaching staff can do with it. What this coaching staff can do. It's got 2 game films to watch. It's got a full week to prepare. And, let's see what those improvements look like. Let's see what kind of leap can be made. And if it makes a leap, like if they win 50-30, man, I think the Florida State fans will be like, okay, all right,
yeah,
okay.
I agree, yeah.
I see what's going on. I can be optimistic here. We might get to 7 or 8 wins this year. But if they go fiddle fart around and either win 23-19 or lose, then yeah, everything's on the table. You're starting thinking about 3-9. That's why I think this game is really, really important to see what kind of improvement they can make in season. Because if they lose this game and don't look particularly good doing it, then we'll have to find other talking points. Because we get it. It's going to be a struggle. The offensive line's terrible. What else? We're going to be hammering that all year.
But then at that point, it's like, well, none of these guys that everyone keeps clinging to had that bad of a fall. Like, Nick Saban's first year in Alabama wasn't 3-9.
True.
All these other guys.
No, I get that. There would be
5-7.
concern. A 3-9 first season is not a good look, obviously. But what's funny about this game, and I genuinely believe this, is that's on the table right now, right? You look at this schedule.
You go at Louisville, at Miami, like back-to-back weeks.
At NC State, at Notre Dame. Florida's not a gimme, obviously. Nobody's a gimme. You just barely beat Samford. But if you can go up and beat Syracuse comfortably,
right?
I think that
this show Monday is going to be awesome. If we beat Syracuse on Monday, I will be a very happy.
But not if they beat them 21-20.
True. Yeah.
And slog it up again. I mean, a win's a win. You'd rather win right now, but you want to see that big improvement. To give yourself hope moving forward, you want to see this coaching staff put together a game plan and for these players to go make plays where it looks like the offense you were expecting, at least a reasonable facsimile of the offense you were expecting when the season started. So put up 5 or 6 touchdowns quickly. You know what I mean? Don't go 4 straight drives with punts and bad turnovers or settling for field goals. Go score touchdowns. This team gave up 600 and something yards to Western Michigan, who then scored 3 the next week against Michigan. This defense is terrible. You need to go exploit it. And if you can't, if you're only scoring in the low 20s or, heaven forbid, less than that, well then, yeah, everything's on the table. 1-11's on the table, legitimately.
Oh, don't be crazy, Corey.
Could be, man.
People like you. So
this is the worst
hold on
defense
to it.
they'll face the rest of the season. If they can't put up big numbers against this thing, if they don't look like they've made giant improvements, then the season truly becomes just let's get ready for 2019 season. That's, to me, how much rides on this game.
We're going to do Renegade Express tomorrow and then probably take phone calls on Friday and do over-under, so I want to get to this point now while we're still kind of all in talking about ball.
And this is it? We're done with the show after this?
Just 3 segments today, folks. It's not a radio show anymore. We can do what we want when we want. By the way, it's not a radio show anymore, folks. It's a podcast. Let everybody know. People keep asking.
We're still doing it every day.
Yes.
Still every day. It's just not who is listening to us at 6 in the morning. I'm sure there are a few of you, but most of you are listening to us on the podcast.
Yeah, just go to buy like a $10 Bluetooth speaker, and you can just listen to us in the car. Just put it on your phone. And if you don't have Bluetooth in your car, because I don't have Bluetooth in my car. But anyhow.
What year is your car?
06.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all make them now with Bluetooth, right?
Right at the cusp.
Right.
Like, everything cool started happening, I think, in the 07 model. But I almost want to – I feel like part of it, too, I keep talking about limiting the bench, limiting the amount of personnel that you're rolling out there. I hope they also pare down the playbook. To this credit, they've thrown the kitchen sink, it feels like, in these 2 games, Florida State. I mean, you're talking about that diamond formation, the constant bunch formations, the stacks they're doing and all that kind of stuff. They're throwing everything out there. I would like to see them, and I don't know how much of it just it'd be shooting yourself in the foot, because this offensive line has obviously shown the fact that they're not very stout. But let's just have one focus almost coming out in this game against Syracuse. Like, let's just line up and we're gonna work everything off the run game, and then we're gonna hope to throw off of it, because I feel like there's so much jumping around. It's power run from the shotgun, then it goes to wide receiver quick screen, then it goes to let's take a vertical shot. Like they're grabbing every sort of extreme of the offensive attack. I would just like to see that pared down and more of a focus. When they started rolling against Sanford, it's like, man, just pound it down, just go, just keep running until they prove that they can stop it, which they did most of that game. But that's just something I would like to see. I almost want to see them just give the offensive line a shot of confidence. I'm like, we're going to script out the first 10 plays that we're going to run, or the first 9 plays or whatever. 7 of them are going to be run heavy. We're going to go inside power. Like, you guys have to figure this out. If we can't run the ball, we're not going to win this week. We're not going to win enough games to have a fun here at Florida State. Like, set some sort of ultimatum almost for this offense, but just give them a very narrow focus, a narrow scope, and then I think they can build off of that.
Okay.
I hope they can build.
I see you want them to establish some sort of identity.
Something. And I don't think, no matter how quick these offenses go, whether it's Oregon or Auburn, like Auburn and Gus Malzahn, they run counter. They run traditional power running stuff just from the shotgun, and they go really fast doing it. But they do run the ball, and if they can't run the ball, Auburn sputters. Do that. Just sell out to something in this game that you want to be part of your recipe for success, and then see how it goes, because I feel like at no point have they really done that. It's been this or try that. Whoa, man, just
not through 2 games. The only thing that's been effective for them through 2 games really is downfield passing, and I don't think that's what they intended when the season started, but that's what's worked. His best throws have been downfield, over the middle, medium to deep throws. The screen game hasn't worked. The running game really hasn't worked, and I think those are cornerstones of an offense like this. And so you wonder, okay, do you want to just try to establish that even if it's beating your head against the wall because it's not working? Or do you kind of say, all right, you know what, we're going to be a downfield vertical passing team? It's always going to be hard with an offensive line. And it's always going to be hard if you don't establish the run. Yeah. But is it going to be a team that throws it 50 times?
How much of that screen game do you think, Corey, is setting other stuff up? So, yeah, they only get 2 yards on first down from that screen play, but how much of it is, all right, in the second quarter when we go back to this, we're not going to throw it. We're going to run off of it.
I don't think you would call a play to get 0 yards or 2 yards. I don't think they're happy with how that works. I do think everything they have has a counter and another counter to that. But I don't think they would call a certain screen play thinking, okay, 1 yard is fine here, because we're going to hit them 2 plays later or 2 possessions later with a different we're going to be a hitch and go or a pump and go. I don't know if that's part of the screen game. I think they're rightfully so really disappointed in the screen game. But if you have wide receivers that aren't willing or aren't capable of blocking, then the screen game is only going to be so good. And they haven't. There aren't many that have proven that they're good at that on the Florida State wide receiving core.
So if you're going to put Gavin and Terry out there with Nooney, then just make sure Nooney's the one catching the ball, I feel like. Don't make him be one of the guys blocking.
Well, exactly right. Nooney does not like to block. He's not great at it. Let him go make plays with the ball in his hands.
Give us a call, 850-792-5730. We'll call it Phone Call Friday. We'll take those calls. But when we reconvene tomorrow, it'll be Renegade Express taking all your questions. I've taken a peek at some of them, Corey. There's some good ones in there.
Okay, all right,
There'll
good,
be some
man.
good probing questions. We'll be optimistic. We'll be cheerful and happy. We usually are. Just bear with us every now and then.
And if you're in the path of Florence, get out.
For real. For real. Yeah, if you need somewhere to stay, give us a holler. Corey's got like 3 houses.
Yeah, you can stay at one of my houses. Just tell me which state you're going to be in.
He's Corey. I'm Maslon. Thanks so much for listening, folks. We'll catch up with you tomorrow.
The Sod Cemetery, Osceola and Renegade, and of course, the War Chant. These are great traditions known to all Seminole fans. If you are a card-carrying, garnet and gold-wearing Knoll, don't you deserve a site that is truly dedicated to covering FSU sports? WarChant.com's staff has over 50 years of experience covering the Seminoles. WarChant.com is the only FSU outlet with a full-time recruiting analyst in Tallahassee. Plus, it's the only site with a full-time videographer and a daily podcast, 100% dedicated to FSU sports. Why act like Gators and settle for second best? WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.